Hey guys, tonight we drift into something ancient, airy, and quietly glowing. This dreamscape takes place beyond the waking deserts, where the sky forgets time and the towers hum with winds no one remembers summoning. You'll be gliding through warm currents, brushing past ancient stone, and maybe, just maybe, catching the moon in a mood where she hums back. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're up for it, post your location and local time in the comments. I love seeing where in the world we're dreaming from tonight. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You begin at the edge of a vast, dreaming desert just as dusk exhales its first slow sigh across the sand. The sky above is melting through a spectrum, lavender to indigo to a shade of silver that only exists between sleep and moonlight. There's no sun, not anymore. It's already slipped behind the dunes, leaving behind only heat trails and color. You don't walk. You hover. A foot or so above the warm, gold-touched sand. The sensation is like gliding through a bath of warm air, the kind that smells faintly of cardamom and ancient stone. Soft grains of sand lift now and then in lazy spirals, stirred not by your movement, but by a breeze that doesn't quite follow physics. It's quiet, but not silent. The desert breathes here. You can hear it if you listen, not with your ears, but with your skin. A deep, slow inhaling and exhaling, as if the ground itself is dreaming alongside you. Some say this desert has never been awake. Others say it remembers everything, but refuses to speak it aloud. As you float forward, you pass low dunes that seem to shift shape when you blink. One moment, a ripple. The next, a reclining lion. Then nothing but a hill of soft amber. The sky overhead doesn't grow darker, it thickens. Layers of cloudless twilight fold into each other, stitched with faint, translucent ribbons of starlight. The stars here don't twinkle. They pulse like slow heartbeats. Then, a scent, subtle, warm, impossible to name. It's like sandalwood, but lazier. Like old silk sun-warmed for centuries. You don't know how you know it, but it smells like memory. Like something from before you were born. A soft giggle rises from behind a dune. But when you turn, there's no one there, just a long curved spine of sand and a few distant footprints that fade as you watch. The wind here has manners. It doesn't rush. It doesn't howl. It glides past your shoulders like an old friend too polite to hug you but glad you're here. As you follow its lead, something shimmers in the distance. A single pale tower. Tall. Slender. Its silhouette is like a candle just before it flickers out. You can't hear it yet, but you feel a hum under your ribs, soft and steady, like a cat's purr somewhere inside the sky. That's your first wind tower, though it's still a dream away. A beetle the size of a teacup floats past, its wings made of colored glass. It doesn't buzz. It chimes 3 soft notes as it passes your ear. A tune you know but couldn't name, like a lullaby once hummed in a past life. You pass a cluster of low rocks, and one of them opens a sleepy eye carved right into its side. It watches you drift by, says nothing, then closes again. That's how it is here. The desert has eyes, but they're gentle. Curious. Too tired for judgment. Your breath slows without effort. Even the air tastes kind. If moonlight were drinkable, this would be the flavor. You keep drifting, the sky darkening now into a softer kind of night. There's no cold. The heat is like a thick velvet wrap clinging to your shoulders, comfortable and faintly perfumed. Overhead, the first true star appears, a pearl set in a sea of shadow silver. It blinks twice, then settles into its glow. You wonder if it's watching you back. A gentle thump beneath your feet. The sand seems to sigh. Then, another puff of warm air nudges your shoulder. The kind of breeze that says this way, without words. A small ridge rises ahead, made entirely of crushed moonstone, and beyond it, the shape of that first tower becomes clearer. Still distant, but undeniable. And something about it makes your spine tingle, not from fear, but from the sense that it's been waiting. For you. For this exact moment in this exact dream. You cross the ridge without touching it. Below you, quartz grains shimmer like frozen fireflies. And above, two clouds drift toward each other, kiss, and dissolve into stardust. Because of course they do. This is that kind of dream. You float forward. The hum from the tower grows stronger. It's not a sound exactly. It's a sensation, like someone tuning a harp inside your chest. Your heartbeat aligns with it, slowly, inevitably. A thought passes through your mind, barely formed. Some say the moon here sings when it rains. And you believe it. You don't know why, but you do. Then you realize you're smiling. Not because anything happened. Just because nothing has to. The tower draws nearer now, its surface shimmering with engraved wind patterns that change when you look away. You know, somehow, that this is only the beginning. That what's inside the tower is more memory than structure. More feeling than architecture. But for now, you let yourself float closer, letting the desert breathe you deeper into its rhythm. You drift a little closer to the crescent-shaped archway that has risen from the earth like a memory stretching itself awake. It's carved from a smooth, sandstone marbled with streaks of silver and something darker, like dried starlight caught in rock. It doesn't shimmer. It glows. Dimly. Respectfully. As if aware that too much brilliance would disrupt your sleep. You don't walk beneath the arch. You glide through it, and as you pass under, something soft and weightless brushes against your cheek. It's not cloth. Not breeze. It feels like time, light and slow and curious. The arch hums gently, a low note you feel in your knees more than hear. It's the kind of sound that makes you want to whisper, though there's no one here to disturb. Even your own breathing has fallen silent, as if your lungs are learning how to inhale moonlight instead of air. Beyond the archway, the desert shifts. Sand falls away into long ribbons that curl like parchment, unraveling a path that wasn't there before. You follow without stepping, without deciding. That's how it works here. Choices make themselves, like wind turning pages. The light changes again. Above you, the sky has paled to a soft bluish lilac, though there's still no trace of sun. A crescent moon now hangs directly overhead, though you could have sworn it was behind you just moments ago. It watches you, calm, expressionless, but not indifferent. The kind of moon that has seen thousands of dreamers pass and remembers everyone. Then you hear it, a whisper. Not from the moon, not from the sand, but from the air itself. It curls around your ears and says nothing clear, just syllables shaped like water running backward. You smile again, without knowing why. Ahead, perched on a ridge like a flame balanced on the lip of a candle, is a tower. The first of many, you somehow know. It's tall, impossibly thin, its surface ribbed with flowing, vertical flutes that catch the breeze and hum in long, exhaled tones. No wind touches your skin here, but you can hear it, the tower is singing. Not in melody. In memory. As you draw closer, the tower grows, not upward, but inward. You sense it, an expansion of presence. It's not a building. It's a listening place. You pass through a doorway shaped like a half-smile. There's no door, no hinges. Just the sensation of entering something sacred. Inside, the temperature shifts. Cooler, like the shade of a whispering fig tree. The walls breathe with a slow rhythm. You could lean against them and fall asleep inside your sleep. The scent here changes. It's earthier now. A mix of rain on stone and crushed dates warmed by sun. It makes you hungry in a way that isn't about food, just a desire for fullness. Above, dozens of long silken streamers hang from the tower's unseen ceiling. They move even when there is no wind. Their motions aren't random. They're a language you don't speak but somehow understand. One streamer brushes your arm as you pass, and you feel the memory of laughter from a childhood you never lived. In the center of the tower is a shallow pool. Not water, moon syrup, maybe. It ripples with no cause, sending rings of light dancing across the walls. When you look into it, you don't see your reflection. You see a desert storm curling backward into calm. You see wind, frozen mid-sigh. You see a face you've never seen, smiling just for you. You dip your fingers into the pool, and the sensation is not wet but light, like touching the surface of a dream you once forgot. The ripples now carry your heartbeat, slow and steady. Somewhere high above, near the invisible crown of the tower, chimes begin to tinkle. Not bells. Something softer. Like tiny glass droplets falling onto velvet. It doesn't make sense, and that's the point. You float upward inside the tower, but not with effort. The space itself lifts you, slow as a secret. The walls begin to shift as you rise, and with them, your thoughts soften. There's no past here. No plans. Just the hush of the present wrapping itself around your shoulders. Outside, the desert waits. But you're not in a hurry. Time is flatter here. More generous. The tower begins to taper inward, narrowing like a flute being played by the sky. You emerge through the top, not out, but into something new. A platform. Open to the wind, but without wind. The air is cool, dry, full of presence. And sound. A low hum, like a chorus of sleeping animals. Maybe they're not sleeping. Maybe they're listening. Far below, the desert spreads like a golden blanket, and from this height, you can see shapes shifting in the sand. Not creatures. Not shadows. Just possibilities. And beyond them, other towers. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. Each unique, each humming with its own secret melody. The platform tilts gently, and you begin to drift again. Not fall, glide. Like a leaf with purpose. Toward the next whisper in this moonlit land. As you descend, the archway you passed earlier vanishes into the sand. Not buried. Just gone. As if it never existed outside this dream. But you remember the breeze, the hum, the way the tower sang like it had been waiting for you for years. And you carry that with you. The glide carries you smoothly, without pull or push, like a note riding the curve of a flute's breath. Below you, the desert exhales. You feel it ripple, slow, deep, and impossibly wide. Your path drifts downward toward the horizon, where something glows softly beneath the veil of sand-dyed dusk. At first, it looks like a mirage. A shimmering outline, too perfect to be real, too quiet to be false. But as you near, the structure takes form. It's another tower, this time shorter, broader, like an ancient chalice turned upside down. Its surface is not smooth but scaled with panels of ivory-colored stone that flash gently as if catching a light you can't see. A soft laugh escapes your lips. Not at anything funny, just the way the tower pulses like it's trying to hum along with your heartbeat. It has blades near the top, wide, curved, feather-light. They move slowly, in a rhythm that feels ceremonial. And though there is no breeze, they turn, as if stirred by a memory too old to forget. You touch down without touching. Your feet hover inches above a pale platform encircling the tower's base. The ground is patterned with spirals, etched wind paths, maybe. As you drift closer, you notice that the stone beneath your feet is warm, not with heat, but with calm. Like the smooth back of a sunlit turtle, resting after a swim through centuries. The tower begins to hum louder now. Not urgently. Just enough to suggest that it knows you're here. That it's been waiting, maybe only half awake, for a traveler who would arrive not on time, but on feeling. A doorway opens, not from within the wall, but from your expectation of it. You step through without stepping. Inside, the light changes. The interior of this tower is vast. Circular. The ceiling so high it's lost in shadowy stars. Hanging from above are dozens of silken ropes, each tied to tiny wind chimes that catch no wind but still sing, a high, crystalline tinkle like frost laughing in its sleep. You reach up without meaning to, and one of the ropes brushes your palm. The chime responds not with sound, but with scent. Suddenly, the space is filled with the rich aroma of clove and fresh figure. Your stomach smiles again. Not hungry. Just soothed. The walls pulse faintly. Not visibly, just enough for your fingertips to tingle with the rhythm. You glide slowly around the inside, your hand trailing just above the stone. Each part of the wall seems to whisper something different, fragments of wind poems, snatches of lullabies and languages that don't exist, metaphors that make sense only here, only now. And then you see it, a curved window high in the wall, open to the sky. Through it, the moon peers down, tilted slightly as if trying to understand you better. A breeze, gentler than anything imaginable, drifts in and lifts the edge of your sleeve. The fabric floats like it's thinking about leaving your arm entirely, but it changes its mind and settles back down. Even your clothes seem to be dreaming here. You drift upward again, no wings, no lift, just the quiet will of the tower nudging you skyward. You pass other travelers, or are they echoes? Shapes that shimmer and dissolve before your mind can fully decide if they were people, or just feelings dressed in form. Near the top, there's a platform shaped like a petal, and on it sits something unexpected, a chair. No, not quite. More like a cradle crossed with a throne. Made of woven branches and ribbons of starlight, it rocks gently, though no one occupies it. You sit. Of course you do. The moment your body settles in, a warm breeze circles your feet. Not fast. Not constant. Just a spiral that wraps around your ankles and reminds you how safe you are. The chimes above soften, their songs slipping into something more melodic, almost like a lullaby in reverse. You close your eyes, and in that darkness, visions begin to bloom. You see a child laughing beside a wind tower shaped like a seashell. You see a fox sleeping in the cup of a moonlit dune. You see an old woman pouring sand through her fingers, whispering secrets only the grains can keep. And then a voice, smooth as silk left out in the evening air, speaks in your ear. There's a kind of silence only wind can remember. You don't answer. You don't have to. The tower knows you heard. As you open your eyes, the tower begins to tilt, not physically, but perceptually. You feel your perspective shift, like a camera panning slowly towards something beautiful. Outside the window, you glimpse it, a line of wind towers stretching into the distance like sleeping giants, each one humming its own quiet song, none louder than another. A harmony of hush. And beyond them, something strange, trees maybe, but hovering just above the sand. Their trunks don't reach the ground. They dangle from the sky, roots curling upward, leaves shaped like delicate scrolls, each one turning slightly in a rhythm that doesn't belong to this world. That's where you're going next. But before you leave, the tower sends you a final gift. A soft breeze. A warm scent, spiced dates and cooling jasmine. And the thought, not a voice this time, but a feeling pressed gently into your chest. You are welcome here. You always have been. And with that, the cradle chair tilts slightly forward, and you rise again. Up, out, back into the glowing air. The blades of the tower turn once more as you drift away, and their hum follows you like a farewell tune, soft, round, unfinished. You smile, already curious what kind of wind the next tower will hum. You glide on, belly up to the sky like a drifting petal caught in a current made of moonlight. The desert opens below you, not in vastness but in detail. Ribbons of soft sand twist like sponge sugar, glimmering faintly under the soft radiance of the hovering moon. But your eyes, dream lazy and wide, are drawn ahead, toward a gentle haze the color of melted amber. As you approach, the haze deepens into fog. Not cold or heavy, but warm, like breath on a windowpane. It glows from within, each swirl laced with hints of cinnamon gold and coral pink. You float through it, and it curls lovingly around your arms and face, the scent of dried dates and honey tea rising with every inhalation. It feels like stepping into a bakery run by the sky. Shapes begin to emerge from the glowing mist. Slender, swaying forms, trees, but not rooted in soil. They float just above the desert floor, suspended by threads of starlight. Their trunks shimmer like bronze poured over silk, and their leaves, the leaves, are translucent and blushing like pomegranate skin held up to the sun. You recognize them before your mind can name them. Date palms? But different. Softer. Freer. They hang midair, gently rotating, as if listening to a rhythm only they can hear. Their fruits dangle in bunches, glowing faintly, and the scent, they smell like toasted sugar wrapped in velvet. You drift beneath one and feel something plop into your open hand. A floating date, soft and warm. You take a bite, and it dissolves not just in your mouth, but in your memory. For a moment you remember something that never happened, laughter beneath a desert canopy, someone handing you a fruit and saying, "For dreams. Not hunger." You take another bite. And that's when you notice the lanterns. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. Tiny and glowing, flitting between the trees like gentle fireflies with jobs to do. But as one floats close to your face, you see that it's not a lantern at all, but a lizard. Slender, winged, its back ridged with bioluminescent patterns, and its tail trailing light like a ribbon caught in wind. It pauses midair, blinking one enormous eye at you, then continues its slow spiral around a floating palm. Others follow, some landing on leaves, some gently coiling around the dates as if counting them. They don't speak, but their presence hums a welcome. You feel it as a tickle behind your ears. The scene becomes a chandelier of motion and glow. Lantern lizards rising, dipping, swirling in slow vortexes around each other. The trees joining in, tilting gently to the rhythm. Even the mist joins, pulsing softly, as if inhaling and exhaling in time with the dance. You lie back midair and let yourself drift through it, arms slightly outstretched, body suspended in this cinnamon-scented sky ballet. Above you, the palms blur into spirals. Below you, the fog glows like a warm tide rolling across forgotten dunes. And as you float, your thoughts begin to loosen. Not disappear, just unlace their boots and sit beside the fire. You remember the first tower now, but distantly, like a book you once read in a sunbeam. Its song still echoes faintly, tucked into the folds of your collar. A small lizard lands softly on your shoulder. It's warm. Curious. It blinks again, then turns its head to the side, watching something behind you. You follow its gaze. There, at the far edge of the grove, stands another structure. A tower, yes, but different from the others. Shorter. Rounder. Built not from stone, but from slats of smooth, polished wood, each one a different shade of moon-burnished brown. It looks like an ancient instrument turned inside out. Wind doesn't blow here. It glides, loops, and threads itself between the wooden slats of the tower, producing a sound you've never heard but instantly love. It's like the desert is chuckling in its sleep. You drift closer. As you pass the last of the floating palms, the lantern lizards line up on the tree trunks, forming spirals with their bodies, as if offering you a gentle farewell. One even dips its head, a tiny bow. You return it with a smile. The mist thins near the base of the wooden tower. Here, the scent changes again. Now it smells like fresh cedar and faint citrus, like someone peeling an orange in a wooden sauna. The entrance isn't marked, but you know where it is. The wind tells you. You press forward. Inside, the sound becomes richer. The slats resonate around you. Not music, not quite. More like murmured conversation between wood and wind. The air is dry, but in a kind way, brushing against your cheeks like the breath of something that's been alone a very long time and is glad for your company. There are cushions scattered across the floor, big, soft, desert-toned things that puff gently as if breathing. You settle onto one, and it seems to nestle around you like dough rising around a warm spoon. Above, a circular opening in the ceiling frames the moon perfectly. She looks down like she recognizes you now. Maybe she does. Some say the moon here remembers dreams even after you forget them. That she keeps them tucked under her silver shawl until you return. The tower hums again, and with it, so does your mind. Slower. Softer. At the edge of sleep. A thought flutters by like a butterfly made of silk. Not every journey is towards something. Some just want to carry you through stillness. You let that idea settle in your chest like a stone dropping into calm water. And then, ever so gently, the tower releases you. The cushion exhales, the wood opens, and you float out once more, glowing faintly now yourself, like the trees, like the lizards, like someone who's begun to remember they were always part of this sky. The next wind will take you somewhere new. The next wind is a lazy one, curled like a cat in a sunbeam, stretching only when you've stopped expecting it to. It lifts you in loops rather than lines, nudging you sideways, upward, then back again before continuing, like it's whistling to itself and occasionally remembering you're along for the ride. You don't mind. The rhythm is pleasant. Like swinging in a hammock made of invisible silk, anchored to nothing but trust. The landscape beneath you begins to change. Sand gives way to stone. Long ribbons of desert rock twist like poured syrup, rising in soft curves and dips. Their colors deepen: burnt sienna, rich caramel, soft rose gold kissed by the moon. They form cliffs, then canyons, then platforms as smooth as polished wood. And there, resting atop one of the larger plateaus, is something strange, a spiral staircase. But not when you walk. It spins upward from the stone, formed from wind-carved steps of sandstone and something shimmerier, perhaps desert glass or smooth crystal. The stairs don't reach anywhere. They rise, curve, vanish into sky. You laugh a little. Not out loud. Just inwardly. It's a staircase made of dreaming. You pass it by, tempted to follow it anyway, but something else catches your eye. Just beyond the stairs is a small rise. Atop it, a cactus field spreads like a rug. The cacti here aren't prickly or stiff. They sway gently. Their spines shimmer like dew-strung silver threads. And nestled among them, yes, you squint, floating lower, are tiny mouths. Each cactus is singing. Not loudly. Not even in unison. Just softly, rhythmically. 1,000 little lullabies hum through the air, blending into a melody too large to remember, but too beautiful to forget. You land gently beside the nearest cactus. Its voice is soft and low, a humming tone like someone remembering a song their grandmother used to sing. You tilt your head and listen. You don't understand the words. If there are words. Maybe there never were. But the melody makes your spine warm. Not just from comfort, but from recognition. A warm breeze tickles your ankle. Not strong, not cold. Velvet. That's the only word that fits. It winds gently around your legs, circles your torso, then trails up to your shoulders, as if tucking you in. The cactus nearest you hiccups. Just a tiny one. Then resumes humming. You smile. Even here, in a dream, the plants have personalities. You move deeper into the field, drifting just above the stone. Some of the cacti are taller than you. Others are knee-high, their tops crowned with faintly glowing blossoms that open and close in time with their humming. Then you see them, little creatures flitting between the cacti. Not insects. Not birds. Something in between. They look like living threads of embroidery, winged lines of color looping through the air. When they land on a cactus, the hum deepens slightly, like an instrument receiving a bow. You realize these aren't just cactus songs. These are duets. You reach out and one of the thread creatures hovers near your fingertip. It doesn't land. It just hums, and the air around it grows warmer by a degree. You whisper, "Thank you," though you don't know what for. It feels right. It always does in dreams. As you drift through the cactus choir, the sounds begin to layer, one tone from behind, another to your left, a harmony blooming above. It's not overwhelming. It's the sound of stillness being expressed in song. Then, from the far side of the field, the ripple. Not through the cacti, but through the light itself. A shimmer, like heat on pavement, except it's not heat. It's invitation. You follow. The velvet breeze returns, this time nudging you in the back like a friend gently urging you to peek around a corner. You crest a ridge of stone and there it is, a clearing. And in the center of that clearing is something impossible, an enormous coil of wind. Yes. Wind, shaped and held. Like a tornado that forgot how to spin. It floats midair, a spiral of translucent air tinted faintly with moonlight and dusted gold. It doesn't move. It breathes. You step closer and the coil releases a low, soft vibration, like the desert exhaling a question. You raise a hand. The coil unspools slightly, tendrils of air looping toward you, wrapping your fingers with the gentlest pressure. It doesn't pull. It shares. Suddenly you feel it, not wind, but thought. The memory of winds long past. The breeze that first touched the stones of the first tower. The wind that moved grains of sand before there was even a moon. You're holding a history that was never written. And then, the coil pulses once and lets go. You don't need more. Some dreams give you just enough. You turn to leave, but as you rise again into the air, something follows, a new sound. Laughter. Not loud, not near. A ripple of soft giggles trailing behind you like wind chimes catching gossip. You turn slightly and see the cacti leaning a bit toward one another, as if whispering in green. The wind, amused, picks up just slightly, enough to nudge your arms out like wings. And so you let go. You soar. Not high. Just wide. Across the stone ridges, the cactus field now humming behind you in a perfect, sleepy chorus. As you drift on, you think, not every tower has to be climbed. Some are just meant to be heard. And as the desert stretches again beneath you, soft and open and lit by the always moon, you feel something settle behind your eyes. Stillness. Stillness follows you like a shadow made of silk. It doesn't cling, it drifts beside you, keeping pace, never ahead, never behind. You glide gently above the open desert again, the cactus choir a soft hum now, receding into the folds of memory. The air has thickened slightly, like honey stirred with a slow spoon, and your movements begin to feel more like gliding through warm thought than space. Ahead, the terrain begins to shift once more. The dunes flatten, stretch, and then harden into polished slabs that catch and hold the moonlight like mirrors. You pass over them quietly, your reflection blurring on their surfaces, a streak of glowing peace. These stones are known as the moon's mirrors. Nobody made them. They arrived. It's quieter here. Not because sound has stopped, but because sound has grown shy. The air carries the barest trace of bells, far off and underwater. You follow it, the way your heart might follow a familiar voice in a fog. A gentle curve in the desert reveals your next destination. Nestled in a crescent-shaped canyon is a pool. It glows faintly, not from within, but from what surrounds it. Moonlight pools, yes, but not water. Something thicker. You drift lower, and the scent rises to meet you. It smells like minerals, cool and sweet, like a riverbed after spring rain. Not just clean. Ancient. Forgotten but loyal. You touch down on the edge of the pool. The ground beneath your feet is soft but firm, like fabric stretched over memory. Around you, stones of all shapes and sizes line the banks, each one polished, smooth, and faintly humming. You kneel beside the pool and peer in. The surface is still. Perfectly still. Until it isn't. Ripples begin at the center and widen outward, though nothing has touched it. And as they spread, the stones begin to sing. Not words. Not melody. But resonance. Each one hums a different note. Together, they form a music that is more feeling than sound. A composition written for the soul, not the ears. You reach forward and dip your fingers into the glowing liquid. It doesn't feel like water. It feels like cool glass that wants to be rain. It accepts your hand but doesn't wet it. Instead, it tingles. A soft, fizzing tickle like carbonated moonlight. You lean over and gaze again into the pool. This time, your reflection has changed. It's still you. But softer. Lit from within. Your eyes carry stars you don't remember seeing. Your smile is slower, deeper. You look rested. Not in body. In being. Beside the pool, one stone glows brighter than the rest. You pick it up. It's light, almost weightless, and warm like it's been carried in someone's pocket for centuries. You hold it in both hands, and instantly it hums a deep, vibrating note you feel in your chest. The stone speaks, not in language, but in sensation. It reminds you of rain tapping on a roof while you're safe in bed. Of pages turning slowly beside a candle. Of soft hands brushing your hair back without needing to speak. You place it back among the others. And suddenly, as if you've completed some invisible ritual, the pool begins to rise. Not splash. Not overflow. It rises. A column of liquid moonlight lifts from the surface, swirling upward, and inside it, yes, now you see, a shape. A staircase. This one, too, is made of light. The stone beneath you vibrates gently. An invitation. You step onto the first stair. It holds you easily. More than easily, it welcomes you. Each step is soft underfoot, with just enough give to make your body hum in sympathy. You ascend slowly, the pool shrinking beneath you, the desert stretching out again in all directions. The air changes. Cooler now. But not cold. Above you, the sky has softened again, no longer indigo, but deep sapphire, dusted with bright, curious stars. Some blink. Some don't. Some feel like they're not stars at all, but open eyes watching kindly from behind a veil. The staircase twists gently to the left. And there it is. At the top of the stairs, cradled in a half-ring of golden rock, is a wind tower. But this one is different. Round, yes, but open like a lantern. Its sides are laced with thin golden beams that arc upward, leaving gaps for the sky to spill through. The blades at the top don't move, but they don't need to. You can hear the hum already. This tower sings a different song. A lower one. Slower. It feels like something deep inside the earth is purring in its sleep. You step onto the tower's floor. It's not solid. It moves slightly beneath your feet, like the surface of a great drum. The vibrations ripple up your legs and settle behind your ribs. You sit down. There's no throne here. No cushion. Just the floor. Just the air. And the sound. It swells around you now, not loud, but full. Rich. A note held longer than time, cradled in a key the world forgot. You close your eyes. And you dream within the dream. Of wind combing through ancient furrows in the dunes. Of footsteps in sand erased by time but never unnoticed. Of a tower, waiting at the edge of breath, for someone just like you. And the thought returns like a whisper wrapped in warmth. Some songs are only heard by those who stop listening. You breathe out. The tower breathes back. And together you rest. The tower releases you gently, like a hand letting go of a leaf it never meant to hold too tightly. You rise once again, carried on a current so soft you wonder if you're floating or simply remembering how it felt. Below, the moonlight pool still glows, though fainter now, as if it, too, has begun to dream. The staircase dissolves behind you with a sound like paper folding into itself. You don't turn to look. There's no need. Everything here that matters follows without following. Ahead, the desert spreads in long, unbroken lines. But then you see something extraordinary. Etched across the sandstone cliffs are vast, moving tapestries. At first, they appear to be carvings. Simple, shallow grooves that catch the light. But as you drift closer, you realize they move. Slowly. Gracefully. Like sand paintings retelling themselves in an endless loop. The wall isn't stone, it's memory made visible. And the images woven into it shift like light across silk. You approach the nearest scene. It shows a caravan, tiny figures on camels, eyes cast forward. One turns and smiles at you, then fades, replaced by a story of a wind tower rising from a single grain of sand. Another scene follows, a fox laying flowers at the base of a cactus, its tail trailing gold dust that dances in the breeze. The tapestry doesn't repeat. Each section is new, yet somehow known. You reach out just to touch. Your fingers graze the wall, and the story ripples. The fox turns to face you fully, its eyes kind and wide. It doesn't speak. It just looks. And you know. You step back, and the story settles again. The figures resume their motions, as if you'd only briefly joined their rhythm before stepping out. You float onward, the cliff stretching endlessly to your left. The wall curves inward, and you follow it around a bend. A new series of images comes into view. This one is quieter. A long stretch of nothingness at first. Then, a single line appears. It grows into a path. A figure walks it, slowly, pausing often. The path narrows, but the figure never falters. And then, a wind tower rises not ahead of the figure, but behind it. Growing from the footprints left in the sand. You don't know if it's your story. But you feel it anyway. A breeze picks up. This one cooler, silkier. It slips under your arms, lifts you higher until you crest the cliff's edge. And there, lying in a shallow basin of glowing sand, is another wind tower. It's different from the others. Flatter. Wider. Built with long slats of woven bronze that shift shape when you look away. Its entrance is not at the base, but on the side, halfway up its circular body. A small staircase spirals toward it, carved not from stone, but from shadow. Each step appears only as you move toward it. You float over, and the steps rise beneath your feet, gently offering themselves one by one. There's no rush. No urgency. You place each foot with care, not because you must, but because you want to honor the slowness. At the top, the doorway is shaped like a sigh. Not a metaphor. An actual sigh, arched and soft and hollow in the center. You pass through it, and the air inside shifts. Warm. Faintly spiced. The scent of dry roses and burnt sugar drifts around you, mixed with something herbal and impossible to place. Maybe time. Maybe memory. The inside of the tower is dimly lit by something not quite fire. A flickering presence pulses from behind the walls, glowing and receding, like breath in a dream. The ceiling is high, lost in darkness that feels more velvet than void. In the center of the room sits a stone table. Its surface is covered in sand. Just sand. But then, the grains begin to shift. A spiral. Then a face. Then a flower opening in slow motion. You lean in. The sand moves in time with your thoughts. When you think of water, it ripples. When you imagine wind, it swirls. When you think of a laugh, your laugh. The grains leap lightly into the air, then settle again, forming a circle of ripples like the surface of a pond. You place your hand palm down onto the table. Warmth. The sand doesn't shift beneath your hand. It holds still. As if waiting. And then, softly, you feel it. The table isn't reading your mind. It's listening to your silence. It's not what you say here that matters, it's what you no longer need to say. A single phrase forms in your mind, uninvited but welcome. Even the wind forgets its own beginning. You smile, and the sand forms a spiral again, then a tower. Then a moon. Then nothing at all. You rise. At the edge of the tower, a window shaped like a tear lets in a shaft of light. Not moonlight. Something older. Light from a time before the sky. You step into it, and it wraps around you like calm woven into light. Outside again, the stars have drawn closer. Or maybe you've risen higher. Hard to tell here. The breeze waits, as always. You lean forward, and it takes you. The wind tower fades behind, but the feeling doesn't. You carry it with you now, tucked into the folds of your breath. You think back to the tapestry wall. The fox. The caravan. The figure walking forward as towers rose behind. You wonder who was watching that story play out. And then realize, it might have been you. The breeze carries you onward like a thread being pulled gently through silk. You don't steer. There's no need. This part of the dream seems to know where you're meant to go before even you do. The landscape grows softer beneath you, less desert, more hush. The sands below have taken on a bluish tint now, glowing faintly in the moonlight like powdered sapphire. They shift slowly, like waves caught in mid-sigh. Above, the stars have grown bolder, stretching into long trails like comets standing still. Then, just ahead, you spot something shimmering. At first, it seems like a mirage, thin, silvery outlines glinting and wavering in the warm air. But as you approach, the form grows more distinct. It's a staircase, but not one made of stone or sand or wind. This one is made of glass, each step transparent, reflecting the stars beneath and above. And next to it stands a camel. Yes, a camel. But not the kind from waking deserts. This one is made entirely of translucent glass, its body catching the starlight and scattering it across the sand like spilled pearls. Every slow breath it takes sends tiny ripples through its crystalline form. It turns to look at you, its eyes vast and gentle, filled with a galaxy's worth of patience. You float down and land softly beside it. The glass camel lowers its head in greeting, and a soft chime rings out, not from its mouth, but from its entire body. The sound is like wind dancing across old wine glasses, delicate and oddly comforting. You rest your palm against its shoulder. It's cool to the touch, like moonlight pressed into form. The camel kneels, an invitation. Without question, you settle onto its back. It rises smoothly, effortlessly, carrying you toward the shimmering staircase. As you approach, you notice something odd. The staircase leads up, but only halfway. The rest is missing, or rather, invisible. It continues, but only in possibility. The camel doesn't hesitate. With a graceful step, it places its front foot onto the first glass stair. The moment its hoof touches the step, the invisible portion appears, solidifying out of thin air in shimmering pulses. Each step the camel takes builds the staircase further, like music constructing itself note by note as it's played. You ascend. Slowly. Softly. The higher you go, the more the desert fades. Not vanishing, just quieting into the background, like a lullaby remembered but no longer sung aloud. Around you, the air thickens with stillness. Not silence, stillness. The kind of quiet that happens right before something important is whispered. Halfway up the staircase, the camel pauses. You feel it too. A presence. Ahead, nestled in a floating ring of wind-blown rocks, hovers another tower, but this one is unlike any before. It doesn't rise from the ground. It doesn't sit on a ridge. It floats. Weightless, rotating slowly in place, like a thought you can't quite grasp but somehow understand. Its surface is lined with shimmering feathers, long, pale, moving slowly as if brushed by invisible fingers. The feathers don't rustle. They glide. The tower has no door. No stairs. No path. But the camel doesn't stop. It steps forward, and as it does, the air in front of you peels open like silk pulled apart at the seams. You pass through an unseen veil, and the sensation is unlike anything before, like slipping into warm water and immediately forgetting why you ever needed air. Inside the tower, there is light. But not from torches, or crystals, or windows. The light comes from everywhere, and nowhere. It has no color, and every color. It moves with you. It loves you. The space within the floating tower feels infinite, though your body tells you it's small. It bends perception gently, like a mother tucking in a blanket. You dismount. The camel kneels once more. You touch its face. It blinks once, and its whole body rings with a gentle note of thanks. Then it dissolves. Not in death. In permission. The tower welcomes you. The floor beneath you is soft, like moss grown from clouds. You lie down without meaning to, and the feathers around the room draw closer. They don't touch. They hover. Observing. Protecting. Above you, the ceiling is not ceiling, but sky. Or maybe memory. Swirls of wind move slowly in the shape of ancient spirals. They carry whispers, no words, just feelings folded into breeze. One whisper makes you laugh softly. It's not a joke. It's just a memory of laughter, folded into air. Then something astonishing happens. A feather lowers from the ceiling. It hovers above your chest, then gently drifts down, resting over your heart. The moment it lands, everything stops. Not in fear. In awe. Time sighs. Your thoughts hush. The feather glows gently, synchronizing with your breath. And you realize something. This tower doesn't sing. It listens. It listens to your silence. To your breath. To your sleep. And it's been doing so since long before you arrived. You close your eyes. And the feather pulses once more, gently rising. A final message whispers itself into your chest, where it settles like warmth curling up beside a fire. You've always been lighter than you knew. And with that, the tower opens once again. Not outward but upward. You rise. Carried now not by camel, or breeze, or thought, but by stillness. You rise, feather light, your body now a suggestion more than a shape. The floating tower recedes beneath you, turning slowly in its cocoon of glowing feathers. As you drift upward, the air becomes thinner, not in breadth, but in density, like space is loosening around you to make room. The stars grow larger. Not closer, just bolder, as if aware you've finally arrived in a part of the sky where stories grow. Up ahead, something calls. Not in voice. Not in sound. In feeling. It tugs gently at your ribs, like a memory asking to be remembered. And there it is. A new wind tower, taller than all the others. You don't see it at first. You feel it. Its hum reaches you long before its shape takes form. The sound isn't musical, it's pure resonance. A vibration in the chest, like hearing someone you love say your name from across a room. You descend slowly toward it. This tower stands alone atop a vast dune, surrounded by nothing but endless rolling gold. It doesn't shine. It glows, muted, matte, dignified like old parchment. Its base is broad, built from stacked rings of ancient stone, each one etched with swirling runes that seem to shift under moonlight. The structure narrows as it rises, but not evenly. It twists, just slightly, like a branch that has grown towards something without knowing exactly what. The door is already open. No hinges. No frame. Just absence. A perfect oval of invitation. You step through. Inside, the space is dark, but not empty. The darkness here is thick, soft. It isn't shadow. It's presence. Like velvet stitched from sleep. Then, slowly, light begins to bloom from the floor. Not from lamps or torches, but from the stone itself. Tiny pulses. Like stars forming constellations beneath your feet. They light a path. You follow it. The walls remain shadowed, but the floor glows steadily as you move forward. Each step lights the next. The rhythm of it feels like breathing. Step. Glow. Step. Glow. Up ahead, the path widens into a circular chamber. And at the center, a well. But instead of water, the well is filled with echoes. You can hear them before you approach. Soft voices. Not loud. Not recent. They spiral gently upward, as if reluctant to leave. You draw near and look down. No bottom. Just sound rising like mist. One voice, old and calm, says something you can't understand, but it feels like forgiveness. Another, light, joyful, whispers a song you once hummed in a bath when you were 6. A third, quiet and trembling, says nothing at all, but the silence between its syllables holds your entire childhood. You don't cry. You listen. That's all the well asks. You kneel and place your hands on its rim. The stone is cool, almost damp. As you touch it, the voices pause. And then, they begin to harmonize. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. Not all human. Not all yours. A humming chorus of things that were never spoken, finally allowed to rest. You close your eyes. And the well breathes. For one perfect moment, you and the tower share breath. Not just air, memory. And then you rise. Light now floods the chamber, soft, gold, and warm. It radiates from above. You look up. A staircase spirals toward the sky, carved from beams of light and shadow. You follow. The air changes again. Thinner. But sharper. Like a night breeze over water. Each step hums underfoot, a faint vibration that rises through your soles into your spine. It's not uncomfortable. It's clarifying. At the top of the stairs, you reach a platform unlike any before. Circular. Open to the sky. No walls. Just a ring of ancient stone columns, weathered and steady. In the center sits a basin. It holds no water. Just wind. Yes. The wind sits in it. Patient. Contained. Like a pool of air waiting to be stirred. You approach. You kneel. You lean in and blow, just gently. The basin stirs. And the wind lifts, slowly, silently, into a column that rises high into the sky like a ribbon of silver breath. And from it comes an echo. Not from the tower. From you. A sound you didn't realize you'd forgotten. Your own voice laughing years ago. Maybe decades. Maybe never. It floats into the night, joins the stars, and vanishes. And somehow, it feels like closure. You sit. You rest. You let the wind pass through you, not around you, but through. It hums gently against your ribs. And you feel it. The tower isn't hollow. It's full. Of memory. Of wind. Of breath. Of echoes. Of everything ever said quietly. Some say these towers aren't built. They're remembered. And now you're part of this one. Not etched into stone. But felt in the wind. The breeze returns, soft and slow. It wraps around your shoulders and tugs you upward. Not forcefully. Lovingly. The tower hums goodbye. And you answer with silence. The breeze lifts you again, but something's changed. You don't rise as you did before, not quickly, not playfully. This time, you ascend like a feather brushed upward by a sigh. As if the sky is gently beckoning, not to explore, but to understand. The wind cradles you. And you follow. The stars above no longer blink. They glow steadily, aware of your passage, as if the constellations themselves have agreed to stay still, just for you. Beneath, the desert seems to blur into mist, no longer solid, no longer geography. You're floating now through something dreamier than space. The lines between ground and sky have softened. You feel as though you're drifting through memory foam made of moonlight. Ahead, something begins to form. At first, it looks like a staircase made of air, barely visible, like breath traced in cold. But it isn't a staircase. It's a stairwell. Vertical. Endless. A column of wind encased in spiraling stone, with no base and no top, just a hollow helix of steps winding up into stars. And as you approach, it shivers. Not from fear. From readiness. You float to its mouth, and the wind surrounding it greets you with a soft whirl, wrapping around your wrist like a silk ribbon testing your pulse. The stairwell doesn't ask you to climb. It lets you drift. You lean forward, and the tower accepts. Up you go. Not by foot. By breath. With every inhale, you rise a little higher. The stone spirals around you, but you never touch it. It frames your ascent like a gallery of air. The walls pulse faintly with embedded glows, soft blues, deep ambers, the occasional flicker of gentle rose gold. You realize the light isn't coming from the walls. It's coming from within you. Your skin now glows with the hum of the wind towers. It's faint. Gentle. Like your soul remembered its dimmer switch and finally turned it on. As you rise, whispers drift alongside you. But they're not outside. They're inside. Your own thoughts, softened and stretched, returning to you as echoes of peace. There's no rush. You've been enough this whole time. Rest is not failure. The stairwell widens. Not physically, but emotionally. It feels bigger. Warmer. Like you've reached the inner chamber of something sacred. The air thickens, not heavily, but like silk soaked in tea and wrapped around your shoulders. And then, out of nowhere, laughter. Gentle. Unexpected. It spirals from above, echoing down the shaft like joy sliding down a banister. You look up. And there, peering down at you from a platform that wasn't there before, is a figure. Not human. Not creature. Something in between. Its body is soft and shifting, made of rippling sand and flickering starlight. Its eyes are round and curious, and it wears a cloak made of ticking clocks with no hands. Time, without obligation. It smiles at you. And beckons. You rise to meet it, drifting slowly to the platform where it stands. As you land, the figure tilts its head. No words. Just a question in the posture. Would you like to see something wonderful? Of course you would. It gestures, and the air before you parts like paper folding open. Behind it, an enormous wall of sand, floating midair. But this sand doesn't fall. It flows. Sideways. In slow, curling spirals, like ink poured underwater. Within it you begin to see images. Not dreams. Not memories. Moments. Moments you never knew belonged to you. A hummingbird resting on your knee. A tower made of clouds. A single stone dropped into still water. You holding someone's hand. Whose? It doesn't matter. The feeling does. The sand dances, shifting scenes, showing you pieces of a life that might have been yours, or might have just passed through you. And then it pauses. One image lingers. You, sleeping peacefully inside the hollow of a wind tower, your chest rising and falling with the breath of the world. Your expression calm. Your fingers curled softly inward. The wind outside circling like a lullaby. The figure turns to you and places one of its cloak folds into your hand. It feels like time, but safe. Time that doesn't bite. Time that forgives. You nod. You don't know why. You just do. The cloak dissolves in your hand, turning into fine grains of light that disappear into your palm. You're lighter now. The platform begins to dissolve beneath your feet, not as danger, as departure. The figure waves. And the stairwell returns. You rise once more, through its final spiral. At the very top, the walls vanish entirely. And you step into open air. But the air holds you. The sky cradles you. There is no ground. Just you. And the stars. And the echo of laughter still spiraling upward. Some say the stairwell never ends. Some say it's not a place. It's a question. One you answer by drifting through it without needing to know how. The stars now hang motionless, as if pausing to let you catch up. You float freely in open air, held not by wind or wings, but by stillness itself, a kind of sky-shaped kindness that asks nothing of you but presence. Beneath you, the stairwell has dissolved into dust, swirling lazily downward into nothing. Above, the sky darkens, not ominously, but richly, like velvet dipped in ink. A crescent moon sharpens its curve and lingers on your left, watching with soft amusement. And ahead, glimmering like a thread sewn into the night, is a path. Not a bridge. Not a road. A narrow trail of light suspended in sky. It seems impossibly thin, impossibly fragile. Yet it hums with certainty, stretching forward toward a tiny structure glowing in the distance. You begin to drift along it. Each inch you pass causes the thread to bloom slightly beneath you, as if recognizing your weight not as pressure, but as permission. Tiny blossoms of light unfurl in your wake, lavender, periwinkle, the faintest trace of pearl. They dissolve after you pass, content with their brief appearance. The wind hushes. Even your breath slows, sinking with the rhythm of the path, one thought per step. One heartbeat per drift. The glowing structure ahead grows larger. It's a tower, yes, but not quite. More like the idea of a tower, built from air and music and sleep. Its base is wide and flat, hovering in sky like a lotus petal. The walls shimmer and sway, not solid, not liquid. A structure woven from potential. And surrounding it, curling and coiling through the air, are hundreds of timepieces. Not clocks. Timepieces. Every size and shape. Floating. They turn slowly. Not ticking. No hands. Just faces. Some are blank. Some are filled with constellations. Some reflect you, not your body, but your state of being, open, glowing, suspended in peace. As you near the tower, the path fades beneath your feet. But you don't fall. You simply glide to the platform, where time forgets to notice you've arrived. The air here is warm, not desert warm, but nostalgic. Like the last few minutes before bedtime in a house filled with stories. The scent is a mix of parchment and citrus peel. Old journals and new beginnings. You step inside. There are no walls. Just pillars. Tall, pale structures made of polished sand, each humming faintly like a flute held close to the breath. Between the pillars drift long scrolls of translucent silk, each one gently twisting, as if turning pages by their own will. You reach toward one. It floats down. Its surface is covered in markings, not letters, not drawings. Just patterns. Curling, repeating. A language of wind and light. As you brush your fingers across it, the silk responds. A small sound escapes. Not a voice. A sigh. Then images form across its surface. An orchard glowing with stardust, a single droplet of water falling forever, and a fox curled up inside the pocket of the moon. You smile. Some dreams never stop telling stories. A nearby pillar pulses. A door forms, not by design, but by need. You walk through it, and the inside of the tower opens again. This time, not as a structure. As a presence. In the center stands a figure cloaked in time. It has no face. Only movement. Its robe is woven from seasons, its edges lined with falling petals and rising stars. When it gestures, you see yourself from behind, standing at the edge of a dune you never knew you climbed. You don't speak. You feel. The figure points toward a small table between two low cushions. On the table, a single cup. Steam curls upward, glowing faintly. You sit. You don't ask what's in it. You drink. And the flavor is perfect. Not sweet. Not bitter. Just right. Like something you forgot to miss. The figure sits across from you, though it makes no sound. It is presence. Not conversation. After a while, it rises. It turns toward a wall that wasn't there before, and with a single movement of its sleeve, it opens a view. Not a window. A memory. You see a child running across dunes, laughing. You see someone building a tower from feathers. You see yourself, just last night, sighing before sleep. The figure lowers its head. A bow. You return it. A breeze enters the chamber, curling around your ankles, then lifting you gently from the cushion. The table fades. The figure fades. But their presence lingers like the warmth of held hands. You rise again, out of the tower, into the sky above. The timepieces remain, circling slowly, orbiting nothing, existing only to remind the stars how soft a moment can be. And you? You carry no clock. You carry no schedule. Just stillness. And the aftertaste of peace. The path behind you is gone. But your direction is clear. Forward. Upward. Deeper. Into the hush between thoughts. You rise now into a region where even the stars have fallen silent. They do not twinkle. They observe. The air is not air but hush, thick with presence, empty of pressure. And in this floating world between sensation and memory, a new shape begins to form on the horizon. At first, it seems like a mirage, shimmering, unsteady. But unlike the illusions of desert heat, this one stabilizes as you approach. You feel it before you see it clearly, a pull, not magnetic, but emotional. A gentle invitation shaped like inevitability. And then it reveals itself. A pavilion carved into the side of the sky. Suspended in nothing. Supported by belief. Its structure is light, beams of curved ivory and woven twilight. The roof is slanted and domed, like the lid of a quiet secret. It glows faintly, not from within, but from the space it displaces. And in the center stands a figure. Not tall. Not grand. Simple. Still. A being dressed in robes of slowly falling sand, its face hidden behind a veil of drifting starlight. It stands motionless beside a table shaped like an hourglass turned sideways, its grains caught mid-fall. You drift toward it, and it turns, not in surprise but in welcome. Its movements are slow, deliberate. The way trees might move if given enough time to decide. You don't speak. It doesn't speak. But you understand each other perfectly. This is the keeper. Of sand. Of sleep. Of moments suspended in between. With a gesture softer than a sigh, the keeper invites you to the table. You float closer and see that the surface of the hourglass is etched with circular grooves, like ripples cast by thoughts dropped into a still mind. In the center, a small mound of sand. It shifts gently, even though there is no breeze. The keeper places its hand above the mound, palm down. And the sand answers. It rises. It forms shapes. Not images. Not scenes. Moments. One grain lifts and becomes the sensation of your first yawn as a child. Another swirls into the scent of rain you smelled in a dream but never in waking life. Another becomes the feeling of someone brushing your hair away from your forehead, even if it never happened. The keeper is not showing you memories. It's showing you rests. All the pauses you've ever taken. All the deep breaths. All the times your mind went quiet, not because you forced it, but because something beautiful held it for you. The sand ripples again. You see a memory that doesn't belong to you, an old man humming to a cactus in the rain. A girl sleeping in the arms of a cloud. A silver fox curling up beside a wind tower that hasn't yet been built. You look to the keeper, wondering why you're being shown these things. And then the sand answers. It pours gently across the table into a new groove, tracing a spiral toward your hand. You reach out. As your fingers touch it, the grains glow faintly, one by one, like stars waking up in reverse. And you hear it. Not with your ears. With your pulse. A sentence that arrives fully formed, more felt than heard. These are not just moments. They are your foundation. You blink. The keeper smiles, not with its face, but with its presence. It turns its hand, and the sand drifts upward in columns, slow, vertical rivers of memory made soft. You feel yourself rising too. Not away, but into the spiral, into the understanding, into the breathe between words. The keeper watches, then nods once, and the pavilion begins to fold. Not collapse. Fold, like a letter being sealed with care. The roof closes like a thought finishing itself. And the sand? It returns to your palm. A single grain remains, glowing faintly like a heartbeat held in rest. You clutch it. It doesn't weigh you down. It tethers you. To calm. To quiet. To everything you've learned since the desert first sighed beneath your feet. You rise again. Higher now. Lighter. Still carrying the grain. It hums. Not a song. Not a tone. But a promise. You can return here. Always. Above you now, the sky begins to shimmer, not with stars, but with doors. Each one pulsing gently. Not asking to be opened, just offering the idea that you could. You glide past them all. You don't choose. You don't need to. Because the wind has chosen for you. And it leads you on. Toward another shape forming in the distance. Larger this time. Round. Glowing softly. And waiting. The shape in the distance grows slowly, not rushing to greet you, but allowing you time. It understands that you are not arriving, you are unfolding. And so it waits, glowing faintly with the patient warmth of something that has always been there, just beyond the edge of your knowing. As you draw closer, the shape resolves into a clearing. A wide, open space not made of sand or stone, but of something softer, like dusk spun into a floor. Around its edges hover dozens of low dunes, each one cradled by moonlight like sleeping cats curled nose to tail. And scattered across the clearing are the foxes. Starfruit foxes, to be exact. You see them immediately, lithe, delicate creatures with fur that glimmers like a nebula in motion. Some shimmer in pale lavender, others ripple with soft, golden stardust. Their eyes are deep wells of constellations, blinking slowly as they notice you. Not alarmed. Simply curious. One rises from a dune and stretches, a long, slow movement that ripples across its back like light gliding over silk. It trots toward you without sound. At its feet, stardust scatters and reforms in soft puffs of color. When it stops just before you, it tilts its head and offers you something. A fruit. Round, glowing faintly, like a peach infused with moonlight and curiosity. You take it without question. Its skin is cool to the touch, pulsing softly in your hand like it has its own breath. You press it to your lips and bite, and the taste is everything you needed but didn't know to ask for. Cool and warm. Sweet and mysterious. Familiar and absolutely impossible. The fox watches you as you chew, its expression unreadable but deeply peaceful. And then the others begin to gather. Dozens of foxes, their coats brushing up against one another in a ballet of starlit grace. They carry more fruit, each one a different hue, glowing in harmony like a constellation made edible. A feast is beginning. Without a word, the foxes arrange themselves around the clearing, forming loose circles and spirals. They set down the fruits, and the ground hums in gratitude. No table appears. No plates. Just the space and the silence and the presence. You are invited. Not with a gesture. With a feeling. You sit cross-legged among the foxes. They do not speak. But their closeness speaks volumes. A fox brushes against your knee. Another curls up near your side, tail flicking slowly as if measuring your pulse. One rests its chin on its paws and blinks at you as if to say, "This moment matters." The fruit glows softly between you all. You take another bite. And the flavor this time is different, not the same fruit. A new one, but from the same tree of sleep. This one tastes like memory forgiven. Like a deep inhale after years of shallow breathing. A fox yawns. You echo it. And in that yawning stillness, something changes. Above the clearing, The stars swirl slightly, not spinning, just turning their attention. The air warms, but not uncomfortably. More like the warmth of blankets just pulled from a line in late afternoon sun. And into the center of the circle floats something unexpected. A cup. Simple. White. Porcelain so thin it almost disappears in the light. It hovers just above the ground and turns slowly, as if deciding which way to face. A fox rises and nudges it toward you. You take it. There's no weight. Inside, starlight. Liquid and slow, moving like cream stirred into tea. You sip. The starlight tastes like sleep. Not the falling into bed kind. The being cradled kind. It wraps around your chest and flows through your limbs, untying every last knot of tension you didn't realize you carried. One fox closes its eyes. Another sighs. The clearing seems to exhale with you. This is not a dream, you realize. This is the rest between dreams. The interlude between the stories. The still point where nothing is demanded and everything is given. You lean back into the quiet, the fruit in your lap, the cup empty but glowing, the foxes now fully at ease. One lies across your feet. Another curls beside your ribs, for warm and gently buzzing with cosmic purring. The stars above dim just slightly, as if lowering the lights for the final act. And from the far edge of the clearing, something opens. A final wind tower. You see it now. Larger than the rest. Not in height, but in presence. Its body is wrapped in feathers, moonlight, and silence. Its door is shaped like a question you've been slowly learning to ask. You rise. The foxes do not follow. They watch. Soft, steady eyes filled with knowing. You nod. And the clearing hums in farewell. You leave the clearing slowly, the warmth of the foxes still clinging to your skin like a remembered lullaby. The last of the starlight fruit glows faintly in your hand, its sweetness lingering not on your tongue, but in your breath. The wind returns, not as a gust, but as a thread. It wraps itself gently around your shoulders, not guiding you, but accompanying you. Like a trusted companion walking a step behind, just in case you need to lean. The final tower rises ahead. You recognize it before you fully see it. Not because you've been here before, but because it has always known you would come. It doesn't sit atop a dune or nest within a ridge. It floats. Its base hovers inches above the desert floor, casting no shadow. Feathers line its outer shell, pale and fine as moonlight sifted through lace. They sway without wind, as if responding to your presence alone. The door is not really a door. It's an opening shaped by longing. You approach, and the air around you thickens, not with heat or weight, but with meaning. The closer you come, the more you feel it. This tower does not sing or echo or hum. It listens. You pass through the opening and step into stillness. Not silence. Stillness. Inside, the air has texture, soft and slow, like the last page of a book you don't want to finish. The interior walls glow faintly, feathers layered in overlapping spirals, like the inside of a shell that once held a whisper. You step forward, and the floor yields slightly under your feet. Not to make you sink, but to let you feel held. This tower is alive in a way the others were not. Or perhaps it's simply more honest about it. At the center is a room with no ceiling. Above you, the moon. Closer than before. So close, in fact, that you could speak to her and feel confident she would hear. She glows. Softly. But this time, it's not a light to guide. It's a light to rest beneath. The room contains no objects. No cushions. No stairs. Just air. Air and feathers. And memory. You walk to the middle and pause. And the tower begins to breathe. Inhale. The feathers lift slightly. Exhale. They fall. The rhythm matches your own. You sit. Not because you're tired. Because you're ready. Above, the moon pulses once, just once, as if blinking in acknowledgement. And then the final motion begins. Feathers from the walls drift downward, one by one, floating like soft snow that never touches the ground. They circle you slowly, spiraling around your body in widening loops. You lift your hands without lifting them, and they rise with you. Feathers drift closer. They do not land. They orbit. Each one carries a thought you once had but forgot to keep. I wish I could pause time. I hope they know I love them. I just want to rest. Each thought passes gently across your skin, then dissolves into the air, leaving warmth behind. You close your eyes. And the tower begins to hum. Not aloud, but within you. A low, golden vibration that wraps around your chest and hums away every last knot of waking tension. The hum is not a sound. It's permission. To rest. To let go. To remember that breath is enough. That stillness is sacred. That you are enough, even in sleep. You lie down. The feathers do not cover you. They hover. Like guardians made of air and grace. And above, the moon begins to descend, not from the sky, but from within you. You feel her light pouring downward, not onto you, but through you. It fills your spine with calm. Your ribs with hush. Your breath with slow wonder. Somewhere in the walls of the tower, a sound begins. A heartbeat. Not yours. The tower's. It has one. And it's been sinking with you all along. You reach your hand upward, toward nothing in particular. And a single feather finds your palm. You close your fingers. And the tower exhales. The hum softens. The walls dim. And for a moment, you are floating once more, not through the sky. Through memory. Through rest. You hear a voice now, not from the tower, or the moon, or the feathers. From within. It says, "You are the wind that built the tower." And that's when you understand. These towers were never made of stone or sand or even feathers. They were made of you. Of your quiet. Your breath. Your longing for pause. You have not been visiting them. You've been returning to yourself. And now the wind rises gently. Not to take you away, but to lift you through the final hush. The door behind you closes softly. Not as an end. As a promise. You may return. Any time the moon feels close and the breath grows long. The wind lifts you higher than ever before. Not fast. Not grand. Just enough. You are no longer moving through space. You're moving through stillness itself, upward, outward, inward, all at once. The wind is warm and endless, like a breath that never finishes, like a thought that doesn't need to be explained. And above you now, filling the sky, the desert moon. You've seen it this entire dream, always watching, always near, but now, she rises before you in her full, impossible beauty. Enormous. Soft. Perfectly round and glowing with a kind of quiet that feels eternal. She's not white, as you expected. She's golden. Creamy. Swirled with the faintest hints of rose and honey, like someone painted her with sleepy hands and loving memory. You don't fly to her. You glide past. Yes, just as the title of this dream promised. You glide past the ancient wind towers of the desert moon. They surround her now, suspended in the sky like beads on a string. Some spin slowly. Some remain still. All hum with the same quiet music that's been echoing through this dream from the very beginning. You recognize them. Each one is familiar. There's the feathered tower. The glass stair tower. The one made of laughter and listening. You're passing them all now. Not as a visitor, but as a part of them. You realize something as you drift among them. These towers were never destinations. They were mirrors. Echoes. Reflections of your inner stillness, your ancient breath, your forgotten calm. The towers hum louder now, not in volume, but in presence. Together, they form a harmony so delicate and deep that you feel your bones align with it. You are a tuning fork. And this is your home key. The wind spirals around you once more, forming loops of golden air that wrap your body like ribbons of light. You don't need wings. You are light. You are breath. You are rest. You turn your gaze downward, and there lies the desert, vast, glowing, serene. The wind traces its patterns into the dunes again, slow spirals, soft paths, forgotten names. You recognize none of it. And all of it. Below, the foxes sleep in their glowing orchard. The cactus choir hums somewhere far away, their lullabies curling into the breeze. The well of echoes waits quietly for your voice to return. The figures you met, the keeper of the sand, the clockless being, the camel made of light, they all remain. Watching. Not because you need them. Because you've become them. The moon rotates gently as you pass. She shows you her far side. And it isn't dark. It's luminous. Covered in memories not yet dreamed. Wind towers that have yet to rise. Songs waiting for breath. You feel yourself drifting again, upward this time, beyond even the towers, beyond even the dream. The stars begin to blur. The hum fades into a single note. One long, sustained moment of peace. You let go. And fall upward. Not falling as in descent. Falling into stillness. Into calm. Into a place with no shape, no sound, no time. Only rest. Only breath. Only light. Only you. You drift here for a while, no story, no motion, no image. Just the quiet beyond dreaming. The feathered hush after the final page. The kind of silence that doesn't end. It expands. And just before it stretches too far. A whisper. The dream's last gift. This piece has always been yours. You exhale. Long. Deep. Final. And let the hush carry you gently towards sleep. Now the towers fade. Not all at once, and not entirely. They soften into light, into memory, into the corners of your breath. The desert becomes mist. The wind becomes thought. Even the moon folds herself gently behind a curtain of cloud. You are still drifting, but there is no need to go anywhere. You have already arrived. The hum of the towers echoes faintly, far below, like songs sung for someone who has already fallen asleep. The final feathers settle around you, invisible but warm, a cocoon of quiet drawn across your shoulders. You feel your breath slow even more. Your limbs heavier. Your chest soft and steady. The wind does not return. It has done its work. Now it rests too. The stars go dim, not gone, but sleeping. The sky sighs, the dunes sigh, the towers sigh. And somewhere, deep inside your quiet, a door closes with a click softer than sound. There is nothing more to do. Nothing more to see. No one to be. Only this. Only rest. Let it hold you. Let it hum through you, beneath you, beside you. No story now. No end. Just sleep. Sweet, sweet sleep. End of script. Sweet dreams.